Well, hello. Thanks for coming back to check out another video. The lighting in here today is not as nice as it was in the last time I filmed in this room, but that's okay. I still think filming in natural lighting always looks really nice, in my humble opinion. You didn't come to hear about my lighting issues though. You clicked on it because you want to see the two looks that I created using the new Oden's Eye palette that they did in collaboration. Not that they did, that she did. That Angelica Nyqvist did in collaboration with Oden's Eye. This is the Hela palette. Really pretty. I've had a lot of fun playing around with this palette. I think this look is look number 2 that we have on right now. I think it's actually like the 5th time that I've sat down and used this palette, and each time I sit down and use it, I love it more and more. Like, I just think that it's really pretty, really well thought out. Now, I'm no way encouraging you to run out and buy something unnecessarily, but I do know that this palette will be restocking, I believe, on March 22nd. I'll leave that in the description box just in case you're interested in picking this palette up. But yeah, I have just had a lot of fun with it. I wanted to do 3 looks for you guys, but I just ran out of time. I wasn't able to. However, what I will do is right here on the screen, I'll put up a picture of an eye look that I did do using this palette. It was, I think, the 1st or 2nd time that I dipped into this, and I did a halo eye. So I used both of the pink shades, Hela and Goddess, and then I used the plummy purpley shade Suit. Why do I keep calling it that? Is it because she says it that way in her lovely Swedish accent? I don't even know how to say it in English. Like, my brain just can't even comprehend that word right now. Anyway, the dark plummy shade, those are the 3 shadows that I layered up and did a gradient effect in my inner corner and outer V. And then for the halo, like the middle part, I put down the like peachy duochrome shade double-sided. I really enjoyed that look. I thought it was a lot of fun. I would like to do more halo eyes. You're not getting any halo eyes in this video, unfortunately, but I still think that the looks turned out really good. I'm really proud of them, and I hope that you guys enjoyed them. Let me know down below which look ends up being your favorite look. And as always, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but there will be chapters for your pleasure, for your viewing pleasure, so that you can easily skip around and find out where you need to be. But yeah, so let's just roll right on into this using the Hela palette, and you will see look number 1. Okay, so first things first, nobody comment on the eyebrows. I'm a little bit sensitive. I got distracted while doing this one, so I'm aware that they look different. You did not come here for an eyebrow tutorial, and if you did, then you do not ask my opinion, because I don't even have eyebrows. Anyway, we're going to get into look number 1. I'm super excited. In case I failed to mention it in the intro though, I'm going to keep my eyeshadow primer and like my base products and things like that all the same so that you can just reference the description box. But the eyeshadow primer that I am wearing is from Sugar Drizzle. So this is like supposed to be a more yellow leaning type eyeshadow primer. It's called Pound Cake. I don't really find that it, like, since it's supposed to be a colored eyeshadow primer, I really don't find that it affects like the color of the shadows, but I really like the way that it makes my eyes look and like the shadows wear, and that was my phone. So not gonna ramble too much further. I'm super excited to do this look. So I've had this in my head. I have not like tried this, so this will be the first time that I'm doing this eyeshadow look. But yeah, I think what we're gonna do is go for like putting both of the pink shades into the crease, deepening it up with that very dark green matte shade, and then playing with some of the like green and pink shimmers on the lids. That's kind of what I am feeling. We're gonna see how this turns out. So the first shadow that I'm gonna dip into is the lightest one, and I believe it is called Hela, just like the palette. I will leave the brushes that I am using on the screen for you guys, but yeah, I'm just going to take this into my crease. And since I have hooded eyes, I tend to bring up my shadow pretty far, like farther than other people would, I think. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. I think that when you watch other people do eyeshadows, it's less about maybe exactly where they're placing it. I think it's more like getting ideas of like different color combinations, different looks that you can do. Like, you really need to sit down and kind of play around with eyeshadows and play around with your eye shape and figure out what you like the best, like what you think looks the best on you. That was a struggle that I was always finding when I would watch some of these eyeshadow tutorial videos, is that I would want it to look exactly how it looked for those people, and it never fully came across that way because their eye shape was different than my own. So, and I always do kind of like drag my shadow out here just a little bit so that when we do the lower lash line, I can kind of like match them up together. I do have to apologize. It is, well, I guess it's not officially spring because it's still like the beginning of March, but my nose, my eyes, my everything is just running, and no amount of allergy medication is helping. So that was 2 layers of the pink shadow. In the viewfinder, it doesn't really look like you can see what is going on. Let me see if I can finagle these settings. Okay, I zoomed you in a little bit more, so hopefully that kind of helps so that you can see what I am doing. But like I said, we just went in with that lightest pink shade Hela, and I did do like 2 layers. So I'm gonna do that on my other eye, and then I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so there is that first initial pink shadow laid down. One thing that I am noticing, and I just want to point out in case it affects like the way that the eyeshadow looks or the way that it looks blended. This eye in particular, I have like a little bit of dryness going on right here. I like used a different eye cream, and it's just not to snuff, like it's not enough hydration for what I want. So in case you see any like skipping or like it just doesn't look as good on this eye, like right in this area, then that's the reason why. But anyway, gonna take like a smaller blending brush now, and we are gonna go into that deeper pink shade, which is called Goddess. So I'm gonna put this in my crease as well, and I am going to bring that pretty far up, but I am not going to cover, like I'm not bringing it up as far as the light pink shade, because I do want that light pink shade to be the most like outer edge that we have going on. And I feel like how I personally like to do my makeup is there are some times where I will start with the darkest shadow. It just kind of depends on the brand and the formulation, because sometimes they're mattes you can't layer on top of each other. But with Oden's, I have found that you can actually layer their matte shades. So with shadows like that, I like to go in with the lightest color first, and then I think you guys can tell, like I kind of put shadow on my lid space and then drag it up into my crease. So I feel like that's a really good way to make sure that you don't go ham in your crease, because a lot of this that's like down here is going to get covered up with lid shades. So that's just like how I personally like to do it. Again, I think that everyone just really needs to take the time out of your day, like just, you know, sit around, play with eyeshadow, see what works with you, and, you know, try out doing like 2 different looks on each eye. That way you can see like, okay, it worked, you know, for this type of eye look, but it wouldn't work for like a halo type of eye look. You know what I mean? So just going to continue to blend. And yeah, that's the other thing. I find that by putting down that lighter pink shade first, then it just helps that darker pink blend, and I don't have to really worry about it, because the lighter pink is going to obviously blend into my skin like a little bit better. Okay, so there it is with the pink. I really like the depth that gives. I'm gonna do the other eye, and I will be right back. So I did take the first brush where we used the light pink shade. I didn't put any more product on it, but I did just kind of go over that very like outer edge and just make sure that everything was blended together seamlessly. And I am noticing like I am having a little bit of difficulty right here like I thought I would. So there is that. Now we are going to go in with that deepest green shade, which I think is called not Aurora Borealis, that's the light thing. I'll leave the shade name on the screen for you guys. I'm trying to find the brush that I want. Aha, this Refer 13 brush, like I know they're pricey, but it really has been like my favorite brush to use for like outer V work. So what I would like to do is pick up the green product, obviously, but I kind of want to just stamp it on first and place it where I want, because I very much want to keep this like kind of like shape, you know, like kind of like an elongated triangle. I feel like by doing that shape for like my particular eye shape, it helps to make them look a little bit more like elongated, and I've just really enjoyed doing that. So we are going to first place this down just in the outer V here, And I find since I have hooded eyes, it does get like a little bit tricky to make sure product is placed down and there isn't like any kind of fold where I'm like missing putting product down. So I always like really strain to lift my eyebrows up hardcore. But yeah, I just want to tuck this into the outer V. And then I think what we'll do to blend out the edge is we'll go back in with that first initial brush that we had. We won't put any like more pink eyeshadow on it, but that is kind of what we will do. And so hopefully you can see like I'm just doing this like stamping type motion. And since my mirror is down in front of me right here, just give me a minute. I want to like look at myself straight on and make sure that this is the actual shape that I want. Yeah, so I know it looks a little funny right now because it's not blended out. I want to do the other eye, make sure that the placement matches up, and then we will start blending this out. I have to say, it's my first time like using the green shadow, and I am super impressed with like the color payoff of that. It's just really dark and intense and exactly what I wanted for like an outer V. So yeah, now we're just blending. Again, I didn't put any like additional pink product onto my brush. And since these colors, like it's a dark green and a pink, like the blend on this is not going to be like seamless. Like this isn't the same as like blending in like a purple into this pink. Like there is going to be a little bit of a line, and I feel like if you over blend these two shadows together, like you're just going to create some muddiness. So even though that's not like what some people would consider to be like perfect, that is exactly what I want. That is the like that keeps the colors from muddying together. Like I still feel like it looks nice. So that's only as much as I am going to personally blend it out. See, I feel like on this eye it is getting a little bit muddy, but okay, so I didn't pick up any more of the hot pink like goddess shade, but I'm just taking that same brush and kind of making sure that that color is still present in the front part. So it's kind of like doing a two-toned crease, and I really like that. But yeah, so just want to make sure. I really like these brushes from Blend Bunny. They have been really nice and lovely. Maybe just try to finesse that. Once we do our lower lash line, we can make this look a little bit better, because like I said, we're just going to blend the lower lash line into this. So there is that done. So I think what I want to do now is start on my lid shades. And what I like to do is I know some people will like spray their eyeshadow brushes, but I always find when I'll pick up product on my brush and then spray it. I don't spray the pan directly, but I still find that even though I do that, I experience like hard pan in my shadows, and it's just not something that I particularly want to fool with. So if you like spraying your brushes, you go right ahead. I just personally always use the NYX Glitter Glue, and I feel like that does a really good job. And then I like that as well because when I use it, I can, it kind of helps me map out where I want that shimmer shadow. So I always just start at my very innermost part of my eye, and then I just kind of like drag the product upward. And since I do have hooded eyes, I always drag my product up a little bit further. That way I feel like when my eyes are open, you can still see the shimmer shadow. So let me put this NYX primer on both eyes and I will be right back. I kind of want to do the limey green and then have that more fluorescent one fade into it. I think that's going to be our game plan. So if I was prepared, I would have my brush already out. So yeah, I'm going to pick up that more limey. It's like the darker green, not like the gold one. And that is going to be the shadow that we put like right here in order to kind of like blend into that. And I just like do like a pressing motion. I feel like that the NYX Glitter Glue along with like a pressing motion really helps, one, for the shadows to be super opaque, but also it helps to minimize any type of fallout. So let's just do this. And I do try to, again, I try to, with my shimmer shadows, much like we did with this outer V shade, I try to give everything like a more diagonal shape, just because, again, I think it really helps to lift my eye and make them look a little bit longer. And then for blending out the edge of these shimmer shades, all I do is just take the brush and like kind of pat it on the edge of it. It's not like a perfect blend, but doing your eyeshadow this way, it almost looks like a faux cut crease. So I don't think that that's like super necessary to have the most perfect blend here. Okay, then let me get a different brush. And so we're gonna go into, like I said, that more like fluorescent shimmery green shadow. I am super excited. I think I used this, well, I had a dip in it. I don't know what I've used it in. I've used this palette a few times now. And I really do. I have enjoyed every look that I've done. I just thought it would be fun to get on here and do a look with you guys that I hadn't yet done, but that I wanted to. I absolutely love pairing purples and greens together and pinks and greens together. So it's one of my favorite combos. And this looks, I love the way that these two greens are like fading into each other. I feel like that's super pretty. So let me do the same thing on the other eye. Okay, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Blending shimmers into each other and like fading those together is always super easy. I think you can tell between the like more fluorescent shade to the limey green shade, like it's just a nice blend. But blending a shimmer into the matte is always a little bit harder. So I just have this same brush that we used to put that dark green down, and I don't have any like additional product on it. All I want to do is kind of go and just stamp over the line where the matte and the shimmer meet, just to make sure that that is like the best blend that I can give it. And then I always like to just make sure that none of the depth from the darkest shadow that I put in my outer V has been lost at this point. So I'm gonna look at myself like straight on and just make sure if it has, then all I do is like barely tap back into the green and just pad that in. No, like, don't blend it out or anything, because you're not like bringing it super far up, you know what I mean? Okay, so I'm really liking how this has turned out so far. I feel like while I have put pinks and greens together before, I haven't done it with this palette. And so it's always like a little nerve-wracking when you do something new and it's like, is it gonna work out as well as I thought? But I really do think that this has turned out quite lovely. I really do love this like limey yellow shade that's on the inner part of our eye. So for the lower lash line, I thought that I knew what I wanted to do. I thought I was just going to take the dark green matte shadow and tuck that in like right, you know, under the lash line. But now that I'm looking at this look, it's like, well, there's pink in it and it's a little bit green heavy because everything on our lids is green. So do we want to take that plummy shade in here called Suit and do that on the lower lash line and then blend that into the green? These are the tough decisions of the world. All right, I think we're gonna try it. We're gonna take the dark plummy shade. That's what we're gonna do on our lower lash line. I just knocked over more things. Sorry if it's been like a little crickety, like creaky in here. My like table that I'm using is very old. I don't know, I'm afraid I'm gonna poke myself in the eye. So like I said, we are just going to take that plummy brown shade and that's what we're going to use, and we're going to tuck it really tight into the lash line right here. I'm going to do that off camera so that I don't poke myself in the eye. Okay, so I really like how that dark like plummy shade has turned out on the lower lash line. When I'm looking at my eye look up close, I can see that there's like some patchiness on this eye, but again, I don't think that is the palette or anything. I think that is just the dryness that I am experiencing on this eye. So I have the brush that we used with the hot pink eyeshadow, Goddess I think was the name, and I am just going to kind of dry. I poked myself in the eye. Okay, you get the idea. We're gonna blend this out and blend it up over here and kind of like into this and make like a really seamless blend there. All right, so there's that all blended out. I did also put on some black eyeliner. The one that I am using is from LA Girl. It's their Glide On Gel liner, and it's just the very black shade. I feel like a dark purple, or maybe even like a more pastel purple, or like a pastel pink or a green could look really fun with this eye look as well. When you know it, we're making it all the way to the end here, and then my eyes are deciding to start watering. Okay, so there's a shade, there's a dog hair on this brush. There's a shade in the palette at the very bottom left-hand corner, if you're looking at it, called Double-Sided, if I'm not mistaken. So that is the shadow that I would like to put on in my inner corner. And it's like a shifty, it looks white in the pan, but it goes to like a peachy pink kind of shade. And then when I do my inner corner shades, I always kind of like tuck them in onto my lid so that you get like a fade. And then I especially find with like shimmers like that, like we had that more fluorescent one, and now we're putting on like this duochrome, like it's going to be a little bit different here on your lid than what you're gonna find in the inner corner, and it's just gonna look really interesting. Okay, so I really didn't brush my hair, just kind of like finger brushed it, I guess. It had like a good bit of volume from being in that bun, so I didn't want to like flatten it too terribly much. But yeah, I am really excited that this is like a new eye look that I can do using this palette. I really like how it turned out, like I said. So now we are going to go ahead and get on into look number 2. But remember, let me know down below which eye look ends up being your favorite. Okay, look number 2. I'm really feeling playing with some of these like more mustardy green tones, hence why I wore this dress, because I thought, you know, it's what's gonna look the best. And yeah, my bra keeps showing. So I think what we're gonna do is first go in with the, not the like pastel yellow shade, but the like more kind of like, I don't know, it's not really a mustard, but it is kind of a mustard yellow shade. It's called Underworld. So I'm gonna take that on like a very fluffy crease brush, and we're just gonna put that down in our eyeball. Can you still, yeah, you can see what I'm doing. So sorry that the location has changed from look number 1 versus look number 2, but like I've said in a previous video, this particular week we are getting to live a day shift lifestyle. So my husband is a paramedic, and he's training with a new county right now. So the like orientation, the training, like the in-office stuff is happening this week, and that is on a day shift schedule, even though he is still going to work a night shift. So I figured I never get to film in this particular room because it's our bedroom, but it does have like the best lighting out of the whole house. So I just wanted to take advantage of that. So if it bothers you that these 2 eye looks are done in different rooms, then I'm quite sorry about that. So I've went in with 2 layers of this Underworld shade. This is so pretty. I really like this as like a really nice colorful light transition shade. I think other shadows are going to blend in so nicely into this shade. So, and like I said before, I do tend to bring my shadows pretty far up into my crease simply because I have hooded eyes, and I feel like you can actually see the color better if I kind of go above my eye like lid space. So, but yeah, I think all we're gonna do is 2 layers of this shadow. So yeah, that is what we have going on right now, and I'm going to do the other eye, and I will be right back. I feel like I have so many like eye brushes, and then I tend to just use like the same 5 always. So like, why do you have so many eye brushes, Haley? I don't know, because I'm really bad at cleaning off my brushes. So I'm gonna take a like smaller blending brush, and I'm gonna go in with the more like mustard yellow shade, which is called Wolf. And so we are just gonna tuck that in to the eye crease and bring it up, but I'm not going to cover up completely this like chartreusey Underworld shade. So here we go. I just think that the mustard like brown shade will be really pretty blended into this eyeshadow. Let me try to scoot forward a little bit. Maybe that'll help with me looking down at the mirror and you being able to see. So I am going to just go ahead and apologize. It's going to be the same basic like format as look number 1, but this is just the like my personal preference for like doing eyeshadow looks. Like I really like having, you know, 2 to 3 colors in my crease, having a color in my outer V, and then a lash, or not a lash, a lid shade. So I know it's like the same type of look that I do a lot, but I just feel like it looks the most flattering. It's really easy to accomplish this kind of look. But I think the next time I do like any kind of looks with an eyeshadow palette, I will challenge myself to try to do like a halo eye on camera. The only reason I didn't want to do it this time is because doing a halo eye for me, I really need like the mirror to be right here in my face to get like that detailed crease work in the like front part of your lid space. So that is something that I will try to work on so that, you know, there can be some variety to the looks that I'm doing, because I don't want it to get kind of boring, like, well, okay, she does the same kind of eye look every time. So this shadow though is super pretty, and I feel like paired with the chartreuse shade, it almost takes on more of a, not so much mustard look, like depth to it, but kind of like a gray green. Like I really like that. I think you can see the difference in this eye and this eye, how there's just like that added little bit of depth. So I will do the other eye off camera and be right back. Okay, so here is what we are looking like with our crease work done. So I feel like for the outer V, you could honestly do quite a few options. You could take the kind of like taupey gray shade that is called Decay. You could do the dark green called not Aurora Borealis, but oh, it'll be, you know, the dark green. You could take that shade. You could also take the Soot shade, which is like that more purpley shade. I think did I use the Soot shade in look number 1? It's been like almost a week since I filmed the first look to this look, so I honestly am having a little bit of a hard time remembering. I know I did very much a like pink and green toned look, whereas this one is more like yellow and green is what I'm going for. So I don't want to use like the exact same shades. So I think what I'm going to do is take that taupey gray shade, the Decay shade, and use that in my outer V. Let's see how we can get along with that. So the brush I'm going to take it on is like the fat stubby brush from Refer. It's the 12. Out of the crease bundle set that I got from Refer, this is like the least used brush. I thought this would have a little bit more give to it, but it's kind of fat and squat, and so it doesn't really lend itself to helping you blend shadows out necessarily. So I've been trying to use it for this, like just to place the shadow where I want in the outer V, and then taking like a smaller, fluffier, clean blending brush and using that to like blend it out. So yeah, it's if you were looking at the Refer brushes, I would say that bundle that I bought, I still feel like is a really good deal. I do overall like all of the brushes. It's just this one is my least used one. So I don't know if I would like recommend this one, if that makes sense, but here we are. So again, my mirror is like in front of me. If I look down, I feel like that's a pretty good placement. It might look just a little bit funny right now because, like I said, we've just stamped this product on as opposed to like blending it. So I'm going to put it in the other eye, outer V, and then I will be right back and we will blend it out together. Okay, so I'm just going to take that original brush that we had where we did the first initial eyeshadow, the Underworld shade, and I'm just going to use that to blend softly, very softly over the edge of this. I didn't put any more product onto this brush, and we're just going to blend like this, and I wanted to kind of soften this line that we have going here. We are going to put shadow, like a shimmer shade, onto our lid, but still just softening it. So, and we will of course, after we do our lid shade, go back in and like deepen this up, but it's just, you know, nice to get those edges blended now. So yeah, something like that. I think you can tell a difference between like the blending of this eye and the blending of this eye. So I will be right back. Alright, so I'm just first going to put down some NYX Glitter Glue. You can most certainly spray your brush if that is what you like to do. I just don't like spraying my brushes. I feel like when I do it, I always ruin my shadow. So also, the reason I like this NYX Glitter Glue is because it kind of has, I don't know if it translates on camera, but it almost has like a little bit of a white cast to it. So it's kind of easy to see where you have placed your NYX Glitter Glue, and you can really like carve out exactly where you're gonna want this shimmer shade. And then I always do take mine, again, a little bit higher than like my natural lid space, just so that I can make sure that even when my hooded eyes are open, you can still see the shimmer shadow that I have put down. Now at this angle, making sure that I have drawn even lines is a little bit challenging, so I might have to pause and come back. Okay, so I've picked up that river shade onto my brush just with like a flat like shader brush, and I like to do more of a like packing motion rather than like painting it on, I guess you could say. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And then I do find that through doing this like packing motion, it helps to kind of blend the edge, you know, so that I don't have to worry about that. Oh, this shade is just so pretty. Such a beautiful shadow. I think honestly the palette is worth it just for this shade alone, but that's just me. Okay, so I have that placed down where I want it. I don't know if you can see the shift like right now. So I think, let me just make sure that I put enough shadow down to like meet my lash line, because sometimes I leave that space kind of empty looking. So yeah, I think we got all of the lid space covered. And like I said, since I did more of that like packing motion, I do feel like that helped to blend out this shimmer edge here. So I don't want to, I'm not gonna have to like go back in with a separate brush to help that. Let's just kind of finish off. So I'm gonna dip back into the wolf shade. What was the gray shade called? I don't know. Maybe editing Haley will be really nice to us and she'll put the shade names on the screen. But yeah, it was that shade that we used in our outer V. I'm just going back in and deepening this up because I did lose some of it when I started to blend. So I won't take this, since we've already blended out that edge, I'm really just stamping this on back into my outer V, and I don't have to go back in and reblend since the edge is already blended. So yeah, that kind of, well, we'll come back and do an inner corner. Let me finish off this other eye. I think I used this the last time as my inner corner highlight, that double-sided shade, but it really is just so pretty, and I feel like it's the perfect like inner corner highlight for this palette. I did spray my brush for this because I don't want any fallout, and I'm not going to put like NYX Glitter Glue right there in my inner corner. So we're just going to paint this on, and I do like to take it and kind of fade it in onto my lid, have it wrap around. Like, I just feel like that helps it to look really nice. Okay, so inner corner highlight is done. Like I said, it is that peachy duochrome shifty shade, double-sided. And then I did go ahead and add some like yellow neon eyeliner into my waterline. This is from LA Girl. It's one of their Shockwave neon eyeliners in the shade Screamin'. So I don't know how well that translates. You could have also done like a black, a brown, or like a foresty green. Like, I think that your options with these kinds of colors and what you want to do is really endless. So we're going to go back into that taupey gray shade, which is the Decay shade, and I am just going to tuck that right up against my lower lash line. As you can see, I think I'd have to do this part off camera too, because I need to get close so that I make sure I don't poke myself in the eyeball. Okay, so I'm going to take that brush where I had the shade Wolf on it with no additional product, and that is what I'm going to use to blend out my lower lash line. Hopefully I don't look back on this footage and I'm like, Haley, you weren't even in frame, friend. So this is where I take the last final moments to kind of blend out these edges here so that it kind of all connects and goes together. Okay, so the hair is a little bit crazy and it is just gonna do what it wants to do. I curled it like a few days ago and then I've just been sleeping with it in a messy bun, so it's kind of where we're at. But this is the finished look for look number 2. I think I failed to mention this. I filmed look number 2 in complete natural lighting, so hopefully it turned out okay. I won't know until I edit it, which is always the fun part of this. And I forgot to put on a lip color. Super professional here, but you guys expect no less. So yeah, I really had a lot of fun playing around with this. I think by the time I have sat down to do this look, it's actually like my 5th look with this palette. So greatly enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this video. Let me know down below what other types of eye looks or what other types of palettes you would like to see looks with. I would be more than happy to try and accommodate that. But yeah, that is it. I think I will go on that note. I hope you guys are having a good day, a good night, or a good whatever. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.